let's work at drawing this cam in CAD. And you might find it helpful to keep some notes in front of you. You could have some paper that you've sketched things on. I kind of like to have these pictures from the PowerPoint next to me so that I can keep track of what angles I'm looking at, and I might even go through these illustrations just to be clear. So we'll just make this bigger though for right now. All right, so here is the base circle that our book gives us, and we don't need that. And the reason he gives us that, I suppose, is because the follower, which is 3/4 of an inch in diameter, sits right on that base circle. But it's the prime circle we need. The prime circle goes right through the center of that follower. Now we need to draw some lines at various angles. And let me show you something. So I've got a construction layer going. You could use some other layer, it kind of doesn't matter. So I will draw a line here. There's my first line, and I want to rotate that line 30 degrees. In fact, I want a whole bunch of lines that are 30 degrees. Now, if you are better at this than I am, you could use the polar array. But I personally have trouble with array when I'm trying to go in a negative rotation angle. Can't figure out why. You could also just draw a line and tab over here to a 30-degree angle and do another one at a 60-degree angle, so on and so forth. That might or might not be confusing. Or what I did, which you might want to try, I used rotate. So if you get the rotate command, I like to type, so I do RO for rotate, but here it is up here. Rotate. Now I want to select that yellow line, and if I'm lucky I can just hover over it and it will light up, but sometimes that doesn't work out. Here's a handy shortcut. That was the last line I drew, so when it says select objects, I can type L for last, and it lights up. Enter. There's my base point. Now, instead of just rotating this, I select the copy option, and I could type C for copy. And I could type -30. And now it has kept the original one and rotated a copy. And now I can keep doing that on around the circle 30, 30, 30 until I get to a thing like this. All right? So now let's try. I'm going to get my base circle out of there because we don't need that and it can confuse us. There's my prime circle. That's the one I want, the bigger circle. And I am going to just put a roller in there so we can keep track of what it is we're doing. Okay, now if you come over to your displacement diagram and you measure the height of that 30-degree line, there are a couple of ways you could do that. You could get a linear dimension and measure it, and it says 0.407. Or you could get the distance command, which is up here somewhere. There it is. I type DI for distance, and just click the 2 points that you're interested in, and it says 0.407. Okay. And what do I want to do with that? I want to go 0.407 from the prime circle outwards. Now, what if I just went blank? I just forgot what the number was, dadgummit. If you hit, well, you can click this arrow and it'll come up. So really, that's the easiest way. Or you can hit the F2 key, which I'll do right now, and it comes up. And there's the number I just did. Okay, so 0.407 beyond my prime circle. Now, what could we do? Well, I'll tell you, one thing that would be handy would be to go to the polar tracking, and let's see what I've got set right now. Right now I've got it set every 45 degrees. Looking at what's in my displacement diagram, I see that we have some every 30, some every 20. How about this? How about if I select 10 degrees as the increment for my polar tracking? Now, if I draw a line starting at the thing here, the intersection at the prime circle, and I come out here until that green ghost line snaps into the right direction, and I will just enter 0.407 and enter when I get to the angle, and now I've got a little line there that is 0.407 out away from the prime circle. And now I can put, there's an endpoint right there, I can put follower. Now I can come back and get another distance from there. This is my 60-degree line. That's 0.953. So I could come back over here and put in 0.953 as a length. Or, if I wanted to, I could also just temporarily offset my prime circle. O offset, I will enter 0.953, offset that circle. Now, the intersection of my 60-degree line and that new circle is where I want my follower. Now I'll erase my offset circle. So that was another method I could use. And then there's another thing. Is it under the draw or the modify? The lengthen command. Do you know that one? I think it's right here. Lets you enter a total length of line or change a length of line. So that could be a handy command also. Now let's go up above here. I have shrewdly entered all my distances and put all my followers in where they go. Now I want to make my cam profile. I'm going to get the object layer. And I could use a polyline, or I could use a spline. I might try a spline. This might go badly for me, but I'll try it. And by the way, let me just point out, there are two different flavors of spline. The one that uses control vertices is not the one you want, because here's what it does. Its vertices are not on the line. Oh, I lied. When you try to move these, okay, well, maybe I'm wrong. My experience has been that you want this one where you do enter the actual points. And there are points right on the line, just like the last one we saw. Well, let me know if you know more about the spline than I do. So what we want to do, well, let's try this spline with vertices and see what happens. What we want is we want tangent points every single time. We don't want any intersections or anything else, just a tangent. And when we get to the next one, we want a tangent again. And when we get to the next one, we want a tangent. Every time. And if tangent doesn't come up for you, so far it's working. But if it doesn't, now you can see what that spline with control vertices does. See, that's not what you want. The points are out in space, but the visible line is not. Okay, I was right. So we want this version of spline that has points on it. And we're going to go tangent, tangent, tangent. I'm going to go Shift, right mouse to bring up this temporary menu so that I can get, oh dear, sometimes it's a little bit cranky. I want a spline, Shift, right mouse, tangent, and then I'm going to go Shift, right mouse, tangent. So this one has decided to behave in a funky way for some stupid reason. Don't know why it did that. It had to do with the other spline that we were using a minute ago. And you'll keep doing tangent here. And if it doesn't show you a tangent line, then you have to back up. See, here's what I mean. We entered a tangent, and yet it is not quite where it should be on that follower. And for purposes of this drawing, we are going to say, oh well, that's good enough. I do need to fix this line up here, however. See if I can get it to go tangent here. Maybe I can't. I may need to start over. And then I need a circular arc down here, from here to here. Then I'll do another spline. Then I'll do a circular arc up here at the top from here to here. And once I've done all that, I can erase these radial lines and all these followers if I want to. I don't really need those anymore. You can erase them, or you can just, since maybe you put them on some other layer like the construction layer, you can just turn off the construction layer. That would work too. I think that's all we need to say about this. I have not made a table yet, so now I would need to go to Paper Space and get a table drawn in here, and then get my cam in here and figure out what kind of scale to use. Might be a 1:2. All right, I think that is all we're going to say about this cam for now.